Welcome to Mooreology³ where three sisters are trying to figure it out together. This is our introductory of who we are, what we do, and why we decided we want to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to start with the introductions.
All right. Hi, I'm Sydney Moore. I live in Indianapolis. I've lived here most of my life, although I've moved a few other places to Illinois and to Virginia. I currently work teaching, but previously I have worked in museums and art galleries. One of the things I think that's a memory I can recall is our family driving down to Texas. And the whole way we just listened to Prince, one of his cassettes, all the way down to make our dad just insanely crazy. But it was a lot of fun. We stopped off in Little Rock, Arkansas, then went on down to Texas, but it was a fun trip.
That's a good memory. And then, so Angie, why are you doing this?
I think my sister Jennifer called me up and was like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Sure." I love talking with my sisters, and I think it's a fun thing to do.
Okay. I'll let you go next, Stephanie.
All right. Well, my name is Stephanie Moore Armbrust. I am one of the Moore sisters. There are three of us. If you are from the Indianapolis area way back when, we were very well known for being the three Moore sisters. Uh, One of the things that I know for myself is I have lived away from Indianapolis longer than I actually lived in Indianapolis at this point, traveled and lived in different locations over the past 30 years. But what's been great is Indianapolis has always been my home, always been a place that I always come back to get grounded. And I enjoy having that placement with my family. And that goes into part of the reason why I think this is going to be like a great thing for us. My sisters and I have always been very close, and we have not many years between us in age, but we are vastly different, even though we have the same mom and the same dad. We lived in the same house for 25 years together. We just have a wealth of things that are just different about us. And I don't know if it's just that's how we were born, or that's just the way we are, or we just have different views of things. But we feel like those views can give a different perspective in so many ways. So that's part of the reason. And the other thing is that I just love spending time with my sisters, to be honest with you. I don't think everybody can say that, but I can say that. They're like funny and they say things that piss me off half the time, but we're sisters and that's the way that works. You're going to piss somebody off occasionally. So I would say some of my favorite memories of all time would have to do with us owning the pizza place together. It was maniacal. It was chaotic. It was in the 20s, like when I was in my 20s, and we all had different views of what we were doing and how we were doing it. But probably the funniest memories were the ones where we were like playing pranks on each other, doing things to irritate each other, you know, doing things to irritate my dad all the time, just because, that's just fun stuff. And so I would say there's some good memories there and what we're doing. I mean, I can remember one time I came in and Jennifer had answered the phone, and some guy was ranting about he got the wrong pizza with anchovies on it, and I was in no mood. And I picked up the phone and said that there's no way you could have gotten a pizza with anchovies from us because we don't have anchovies and we haven't for 6 weeks. And so he better call Domino's and get a free pizza there. And hung up on him. Jennifer went ballistic. Like, you can't treat people that way, things like that, and then the million other little jokes we do on each other and stuff like that. So it's just lots of fun, you know. And we just come from different perspectives, and we figure this would be fun to spend some time together and kind of put out there what we think about different topics over a long period of time. And so we'll see what happens. But the best part about it is I get to spend time with my sisters, and we get to be like we always have been.
So that's awesome. So I'm Jennifer, and I would say, so let me just say that I'm the oldest, and then Stephanie, and then there's Angie, and then we have our little brother Sean, who, was the last of four. Um, Intro for me. Let's see. I am married. My last name is now Littlefield, second marriage. I have two kiddos that are grown, and let's see what else about me. I love working. That's important to know.
And you are a workaholic. We got
I
that
am a
one.
workaholic. Yes, I love to work, and I love my job, which I think is not always the case for everybody. Um, I just love what I do, and I work in systems, and I work for an awesome company, and I just love making things better. So, uh, let's see. The reason why well, no, let's do my favorite memory. So it was really hard to like kind of pick one because I have so many wonderful memories, not just with my sisters, but also with my whole family. And my mom and dad were just really unique people. And in the way they raised us, they were just incredibly supportive and always did things to help us. Things like my dad, my best friend and I decided we were going to drive down to Florida for spring break during college. And the engine blew up on the car. And I called my dad, and I couldn't even like hardly talk because I was crying so much because I was so upset. And we were stuck in some little podunk town. And it was going to be, thousands of dollars that I didn't have. And he drove all night long to get down to us to bring the car back and tow it back. And my uncle drove all the way up from Florida to get me and my friends so we could still do spring break down there. And I think that sort of encompasses the type of family that we were. Like all of us always show up when something is needed. We show up for each other. And I think that a lot of times that's something that most families, may not have. I used to think that was normal, absolutely normal. Like every family was like that. And now, as I've gotten older, I think that that's maybe not the case. And so the reason I wanted to do a YouTube channel with my sisters is one, because, my sisters are fabulous and I love to talk to them, just like Stephanie said. We all have different personalities and different takes. But the one thing that I know is they're always going to offer me a different perspective that I haven't thought about and bring up points that I haven't thought about. And while they do that, and to Stephanie's point, we piss each other off, there's a level of authenticity about it that you can't get from anybody else. And what I always know is that whatever they're telling me, it's coming from a place of love and caring and not from a place of judgment and criticism. So it makes it so much easier to like hear things that I might not want to hear, but I need to hear. And I feel like in today's world, there's not a lot of that. Like, people just shut people down and they don't even hear them, even when they might have a legitimate point. It's just the way it is because they're so like taken aback about whatever someone has said. And there's just no grace there because people don't have trust in the fact that someone's not saying that to hurt them. It's just what they think, and that's okay. And I feel like that's what we can really bring to people that are listening to this YouTube channel. Something very different that you might not get some other places.
I call them hard conversations, man. Hard conversations. And they're not meant to be mean conversations. They're meant to be hard conversations of how do I say this in a graceful way, like you said, Jen, but at the same point, get your point across because you feel like it's important for them to hear your perspective of it so that maybe they can think about a different way of viewing it. I always think about, that what is it? Hero 6 movie when the
Nope.
brother turns him upside down and says, "You got to look at it a different way," because he keeps looking at it the same way and can't figure it out. And once he does that, all of a sudden it's like, oh,
Oh, wait a
figured it
minute.
out. I feel like it's like that most of the time.
Yeah, but I do think that people get bogged down in feeling criticized, and they can't hear, and I think that's the one thing that's
Yeah.
different. I mean, even when we were young, do you remember mom making us sit down and like when we were fighting, and she would be like, "You're just going to sit and look at each other until you can be nice to one another."
Yeah. Or just go outside. I figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And so
You got to learn how to deal with each other.
or her always, I mean, I don't know how many times she said this to you guys, but I know she used to say this to me all the time. Your sisters, your brother and your sisters are the only people that you ever really are going to have, so you better treat each other nicely,
Mm-hmm.
And so she was so about
she
that.
used to say that. Yeah, mom used to say, because she would always say, you have to understand, you'll be happy you have sisters and
That's
siblings
right.
when you get older. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
Yeah.
and she'd be like, you'll see, you'll love them, you'll see.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous, like how that is. But yeah, she did used to say that all the time. Like you'd be mad, like Stephanie wore my blah 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 blah, or she said this, or she's doing that, or Angie did this, or whatever, And she'd be like, "You're going to be so glad that they're around when you're older."
Which I don't think
Mhm.
I said that, but I go by Angie, not just Sydney. I don't think I
Yeah,
said that at the beginning.
poor Angie. Her name is Sydney Angela, and named after my mom's dad. And unfortunately, we had we've always called her Angie, but everybody else in the world calls her Sydney.
Like
So
work environment that started from Mrs. DeWitt's in high school. She just decided, you're not an Angie, you're a Sydney. So it was a fun
yeah.
little adventure in high school with people thinking that was hilarious.
Well, and then we were going to switch to, Sydney at some point, right? But we never really did because our nephew, my brother's son, third son,
Third.
sorry, third son. They decided to name him Sydney. So
Yeah, so
it gets really confusing at family reunions to call her Sydney. So we just call her Angie.
well, and sometimes he comes up on my Facebook. There's like pictures of him tagged as me. I'm like, that's not me.
And you guys could not
That's
look
not
more
this
different.
Sydney Moore. That's that Sydney Moore. Yeah.
That's funny.
If you've been here this long, thank you for being with Mooreology³. Like, share, comment. We'd love to hear from you and what kind of topics or any kind of comments you have as we go on this venture together. Have a great one.